Welcome to this week's episode of the Wreck My Podcast, where we're wrecking our childhood in a different way this week. We're bringing a little bit of depressing reality to the happiest place on earth. That's right, Disneyland, Disney World, all that fun stuff. We're going to let you guys know about some weird, bizarre, and even deadly things that have happened at this park.
Ooh.
I'm here with my guest this week. I have Cam. He's as cultured as Epcot.
Oh,
I have Kipka. He's as underrated as California Adventure. And I have Tim, who's as thrilling as Space Mountain. And then there's me, who's as exciting as It's a Small World.
You know, it depends what your definition of exciting is, but yeah.
So you guys, when was the last time you went to Disneyland? We live pretty close to Disneyland.
Yeah, last time I went to Disneyland, I think was because Jess and I had annual passes when she was living out here, but when she moved to grad school, we kind of abandoned those. So the last time I went was with her, and it must have been within the last year and a half or two.
Cool. So pretty recently.
Yeah, and we used to go all the time.
Yeah, because I used to go all the time too. Why? I liked going all the time. But
I'm truly curious.
When was the last time you went, Kipka?
I went for like our high school grad night, and then I didn't go until I think last year. Our buddy Hanson was working for Disneyland, and he took me because it was free.
Yeah. Did you enjoy it? Or not really? You're just like, nah.
I mean, we got beer at California Adventure.
All right, you old curmudgeon. I went like a month ago.
What do? You just wait in line.
Yeah, well, when I went, there were no lines.
Yeah,
I went on a
Thursday.
When you
go, but
I went on a Thursday, and I waited no longer than 20 minutes for any ride. And I went on everything.
But the rides aren't exactly like thrilling.
Not all of them.
It doesn't have to be thrilling.
Splash Mountain was
like
cool.
A thing to do.
Yeah, no.
How about you, Tim?
I think I went like
Disneyland. A thing to do.
That's a good
Greatest
slogan.
marketing ever.
A thing to do.
It's also Kipka's mom's nickname.
Interesting.
It was. I went like maybe 2 years ago. I was with my wife and her family.
Cool.
It was right around I think her niece's first birthday. But yeah, it was like a big group of us, like
Sweet.
20 of us who went.
Well, Disneyland is notorious for being extremely crowded, and that is not fun. So you have to kind of figure out a time to go when a lot of people aren't going to be there to make it a little bit more enjoyable. But it's a cool place. It's magical. What's your guys' favorite ride at Disneyland? Kipko's is obviously the exit.
Where they stamp your hand.
Yeah, he like goes through the turnstile and he's like, give me a stick. He's like, yeah.
He's like, yeah, those,
so good.
those clicks.
So good.
Space Mountain.
Space Mountain. Cool.
Yeah.
How about you, Tim?
Ah, man. I probably the Indiana Jones ride.
Indiana Jones?
Or actually, and oddly enough, the Pirates of the Caribbean before Johnny Depp got like.
You haven't been there recently? They politically correctized everything in Pirates.
Oh,
like
what?
instead of wenches for sale, it's now people selling their stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and instead of like they've changed a bunch where now it's all politically correct inside that ride. It's kind of crazy.
They don't have like that guy like raping the girl anymore.
Yeah, like they took out anything that could be questionable. And the dude with the cat, he doesn't say pussy anymore. Where he's like, "Come here, little pussy cat."
Why not? But that's what it's called.
Kitty,
it's called
kitty.
a pussy cat.
Yeah, that's
He
like that's an
but he just says
appropriate
kitty, kitty. Well, it's
term.
funny because a long time ago, I was there with my family, and I met some girls from Australia who were there for like a dance thing. And I hung out with them for like the weekend while we were there. And they, and they
They were French. They were a stereotypical French guy.
French from Australia. It was really weird. It was really weird. But when they went on it, they were cracking up and they were like, "Do you know what pussy means?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Jordan's like cat.
I guess, yeah. Anyway, yeah, they changed that. How about you, Kifka? What's your favorite?
I guess I remember Indiana Jones is pretty cool.
Yeah, Indiana Jones
we were
is
at
really
California
cool.
Adventure and we just went on like the whirly chair thing. Like they have that at Six Flags. Those
I
are always
hate that
fun.
one. I don't like this. I don't like going in things that dizzy stuff like circular. Circular things are not my jam. Not my jam
You
at
go
all.
into a lot of circular things.
Yeah, I do go. Like I sometimes get stuck in the roundabout, the turnstile to get inside of.
You're just stuck.
I'm just stuck in there and I'm going round and round.
I don't know how to exit.
revolving doors.
Yeah, the revolving door. Yeah, I'm just stuck inside of it. I hate it. But yeah, I think my favorite ride, it's always between Indiana Jones and Space Mountain. It just depends on how I'm feeling that day.
I guess the Toy Story thing is pretty fun.
Toy Story Mania is really fun. Yeah.
Have you been on Space Mountain when they did it? When they made it a hyperspace mountain and it was
Star Wars. Yes.
It was the coolest thing.
So cool. And then they have like the Ghost Galaxy one during
Yeah, that
Halloween
one's
and
cool.
stuff.
It's too spooky.
I like
It ruins the ride for me.
I liked when they did the what's
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, that was
the
actually
Higher
pretty
Ground
cool. I
song.
thought it was gonna be dumb, but like I actually enjoyed it.
It was a good
cool.
song.
Yeah.
It was cool. Yeah, they do different variations, which is real nice.
Yeah.
On it. Have you guys been to the Orlando parks at all, or just the Disneyland?
I have.
You have, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you think it was as cool, or?
So I thought it was rad. I went for a college graduation present. My mom got that
That's
for
cool.
me and my ex-girlfriend at the time, and kind of wish that wasn't part of the memory of it. But at the same time, like we had a blast at a bunch of the really cool parks. Like my favorite was Animal Kingdom because it was like, oh, can you make a magical zoo? Yes, you can.
Yeah.
And like I love animals so much. So
Yeah.
you go on the safari, everything's super close. Like I saw really cool animals. And they have a ride there called Expedition Everest.
Yeah, that's a crazy ride.
Yeah, where you get like chased by Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
And,
that's cool.
And
Yeah.
I love cryptozoology stuff, but like you go up all the way up to the top of this like peak of Mount Everest, and the track has been ripped up all the way.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
then you hear like, "Rrrr," and it starts like chasing you down like shadows and crazy stuff, and you go backwards down the whole track.
Yeah,
like,
and then
Oh,
don't you
that's
see
so
it? It's like
cool.
hanging there when
yeah,
you
it
go
comes
through
out
and
like
everything.
tries to like it's like breaking.
So
stuff
I
and all
unfortunately
projections.
didn't.
It's so cool.
Last time
So
I was
cool.
there was a family trip like 5 or 6 years ago, and I unfortunately didn't get to ride that ride. My whole family was in line about ready to get on, and I was with them, and I realized my phone wasn't in my pocket anymore. So I was wearing gym shorts. And I'm like, I gotta go. I don't know where my phone is. They're like,
Right.
we'll go out to the car and see if it dropped in there, and then if not, we'll have to talk to the park people. I'm like, you guys just stay in line, ride it, and then we'll ride it again later in the day, and it'll be totally cool. So I went out and got my phone. I get back, and my brother and sister are just crying, and they hated it so much, and they did
Oh
not
my
want to
gosh.
ride it again. And I'm like, whatever, it's fine. I don't need to ride it.
What happened to your phone?
It was in the car. It
It
fell
did-
out of my pocket.
did-
I like fell asleep on the way to there because we had woken up so early,
alright.
and it just like fell out onto like the floor, and it was black, so it just meshed in with the ground.
Well, I thought we could do an idea for the next podcast is a cryptozoology one.
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
in.
There
I
we
love
go.
it.
Do you like
That's my favorite-
cryptozoology?
That's
We
my
can do
favorite
that.
stuff on the planet.
There's that one. Was it that one ride there where you like run away from the crocodiles or something like that? Right?
what?
No.
What are
You're making a joke that I just don't know. What's the
You haven't
joke?
heard of all that?
Run away
like
from
the
the-
Oh,
kids
because
that
it's
get
Florida
eaten.
Oh my
and there's
gosh.
crocodiles.
No, 'cause that kid got-
That kid got eaten.
Oh my god.
Okay. Good job, Kipka. Good job. Ridiculous.
At Epcot, there's actually a ride that I adore, and it's
It's Ellen's Energy Ride. It's 45 minutes long.
Yes. Actually, that ride was really cool.
It was so long.
Where you like go through all those like all of
Yeah, but
history
it's
and
so
stuff,
slow.
and like the dinosaurs sneeze on you. That part's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah.
But like, there's the rocket ship ride where you have to like
Mission
Mars,
Yeah.
and you have to
Mhm.
like pilot with a crew, and everyone has a job, and you have to like
Yeah.
hit all the buttons when you're like sitting in line, and like I was the captain, and like all this stuff. It was rad.
There's two versions of it too.
Wait,
There's
so
one.
you're doing that while you're in line?
No.
No.
Oh.
It's the ride. So,
So
there's
when I
two
said
versions.
in line, you sit side by side,
Oh, okay,
five people
okay,
up to
okay,
five
okay.
people deep. There's two versions.
Yeah.
There's an easy one,
Yeah,
and then
where
there's
it
a second
doesn't.
one.
Yeah, there's one where it doesn't shake and give you like craziness, but then there's one where it's like you feel the G forces and you feel the
And you have to press
disorientation,
buttons and
you
stuff?
have to do
at
it
the
yeah.
like right
That's
time, and you have to
so
like hit the
cool.
throttle and steer.
I don't know why.
That's so
I think it was
cool.
because I was with my little brother, but I only rode the like lame version of it, and I
Yeah.
didn't get to ride the cool like disorientating one. But yeah, like my dad rode that one, and he told me it was like insane.
Yeah,
because I think he went on it, and I went with my little brother on like the.
I
easy
rode
one.
the lame one because my ex was scared to go
Oh,
on a
okay.
spaceship.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you know,
Uh,
it is pretty dangerous. Challenger and all that.
You are
know.
leaving Earth on this ride.
Yeah, you are.
They don't
you
tell
are.
you, but
There-
you are.
There is no oxygen up there, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. I don't know. That sounds
I mean,
like
but the
fake
Earth
news
is
to me.
flat, so you don't have anything.
It
It's
to worry
sounds
about.
like
100%
fake news.
flat.
Yeah,
Mhm,
100%. And the moon's flat too, actually, and made of cheese. Did you guys have any crazy experiences personally at the Disneyland parks? Kipka got really drunk and weird. Obviously.
Drunk and weird. we got waited in line for Indiana Jones forever, then it got closed.
Oh, that sucks. That's the worst. No wonder you're still salty about Disneyland.
Yeah, I didn't even pay for it, so
Yeah,
it still
I guess
was
that's
like,
true.
One of my favorite times is I went with my sister and we were on Thunder Mountain, and out of nowhere, as soon as we pulled our like lap belts down, the skies opened up and it started raining harder than it's ever rained.
Oh, dang.
there.
Oh,
and
jeez.
the train goes, and it was just like, it was the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Yeah. Yeehaw.
It's
Nothing
great.
of note.
Nothing really of note except for when the Matterhorn didn't have the separate seats and you went with your family.
Oh yeah.
That was always a little awkward.
Yeah, you had to go like butt to junk, or you know,
yeah,
it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it was just like that.
Or when you unfortunately you went single rider and then you were like some random person.
You're paired up with like a 50-year-old 300-pound biker.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah,
like,
and he, like,
this-
kisses your neck and rubs your lower back.
Yep. How did you braid my hair during that? So my weirdest experience at Disneyland is one time I bought the trail mix they have there, and it's closed. It's like
You
in a
get it
little
like this?
a little trail mix. It's like
That's some trail mix.
trail mix. It's in a square Tupperware type thing, and it had the saran wrap on it, and I pull it off, and I go and I'm eating it throughout the day, and I put something in my mouth, and it feels really weird, like one of the nuts or something. I'm like, what the heck? So I spit it out, and there's a bee in my hand.
Oh, geez.
Fluttering around. So there was either a bee alive in that thing or it flew in while I was like putting it in my mouth, and it somehow did not sting my tongue.
That would have been bad.
Yeah, but like it was just the weirdest thing.
Because you're allergic to like
everything.
No, actually,
That's what
no,
he says.
I'm not
That's
anymore.
Just what he says.
I went and got retested, and they said I'm allergic to nothing now. So I'm like, why did you tell me I was allergic to everything,
They're
and
like,
now I'm allergic
You never
to nothing?
came here. No one told you that.
Ooh, that's a good movie premise. Not at all. Okay, so let's get into some weird
The
stuff.
guy
here
who's
first.
allergic to nothing.
Yeah, the guy.
here's him reading a newspaper.
I'd see it.
He's never spent money on Benadryl.
So here's some weird and random things. And most of the stuff that I got here is from places on the internet where like cast members or guests kind of tell their stories of weird, random things that happened to them.
Yeah.
The first one is someone was working in the haunted mansion, and someone tried to dump their someone's ashes there. So this is a really common occurrence in Disneyland. People try to take their family members and loved ones and dump their ashes in their favorite ride. And I was reading an article where the dude was like, don't do that. 1, because now we have to stop the ride for everyone. 2, we're going to vacuum up your family member, and it's going to get dumped with all the discarded burgers
it goes
at
in
the
the
end of the
trash.
day. And 3, it's unsanitary.
Yeah.
Don't do that. So the only ride though that's really bad is
I don't
when
think
people
it's that unsanitary.
Well, they're just saying we can't have the ride open until we fully clean it, which means you're shutting it down for a few hours, and your beloved one is now getting thrown away instead of you just keeping their ashes. What
Yeah.
they're like, we have cameras everywhere. You're not going to get
what
away
do
with
they
this.
expect their family's gonna live forever on the floor at the bottom of everyone's feet?
Yeah, I don't know.
maybe.
But the
Or
only one
maybe they
that's-
like Steve McQueen, Great Escape, down the pants. You know what I mean?
I guess,
I could
yeah,
do
you could
that.
be
So you're putting
sneaky
daddy
about
down
it,
your
but it's
pants.
just you get off the little mobile you're in, and it's just dust.
Just
everywhere.
dust everywhere.
Yeah. What happened? I farted dust. But the one that's bad is Pirates of the Caribbean. People dump it into the water, and there's really nothing they can do about
Yeah,
it.
I doubt it.
So I
that's-
think that they
that's where you
kind of
should do it
turn the
there.
blind eye. Yeah, because
I'm
they're
sure they
we don't
would,
want to
yeah.
drain.
Yeah, what
the
are they
whole
going to do?
thing.
Drain
Yeah.
thousands and
So
thousands
they're
of
like,
gallons of water?
When you're getting splashed with water from Pirates of the Caribbean, just think there's probably some ashes in there.
Oh
Awesome.
god, think
Really
about all
weird.
the other stuff that's probably in
Yeah,
there
there's
too.
probably a lot of even weirder tampons and diapers. and
What?
stuff.
Who's
Yeah.
popping out their tampons?
No, there was a story I read of a cast member saw a chick walking down Main Street, and she reached up under her dress and pulled her tampon out and threw it in the trash can because for some reason
only
that's
classy-
Well, okay, you
classy
know
people
what?
go to Disneyland.
I'll be honest. In her defense, have you seen the lines to the bathrooms there?
that's true, but
It's-
still,
I mean, if you got to figure that out, you gotta
I don't
figure it out.
know.
You gotta do
Also-
Put
something.
it in a baggie or something.
Also, it could have, she might have been right on the edge of toxic shock syndrome.
Okay.
She could have also
You know what?
just had a vodka-soaked tampon and was getting lit.
That could have been
that
it.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
She didn't want to leave it in too long.
I don't know if you've ever seen that website that people of Walmart.
Yes, the
Yeah.
Those are all
Walmartians.
people that go to Disneyland. Too.
Seriously,
so
that's
you're
true.
gonna get a lot of that.
I thought you were going to say another thing. Is you ever seen that website? People pulling out tampons.
Yeah. There's probably a website for that. So here's another story. While sitting with my friend in front of Small World, I noticed something was crawling slowly past me. It was an actual live lobster crawling along the pathway. As I shouted to my friend to look at it, one of the cast members walked up nonchalantly and grabbed the lobster, saying, "Now how did you get out?" He then proceeded to throw the lobster into the waters directly behind us. Long story short, Disneyland breeds their own lobsters. So I think this is at Disney World, and I think it's a joke that they breed their own lobsters. I think that it was just a random lobster, and he threw it in the water because this cast member didn't know what to do with
And
it.
he's
Yeah,
also hilarious.
Yeah,
But
it's pretty funny.
I like how casual it is.
Yeah,
though.
he was just
Yeah.
casual about it. But here's a real thing. So feral cats actually live.
I've met
in
multiple
Disneyland.
of them.
Yeah, so
Feral
so you're one of
cats.
those people that finds them and takes their picture.
I
and
don't take their
whatnot.
picture. I
No,
just
you
try to pet them.
You try and pet them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they
Yeah.
live, and they actually have cat feeding stations all around the
Yeah.
park, and they actually give them shots, and they spay and neuter them so it doesn't get out of control population. But they're there to ironically kill all the mice so
Yeah.
they don't have a mouse problem.
that works. That's a good
Sorry,
idea.
Mickey, you're getting killed by a feral cat.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I think he's
That's a
okay. He's a
conflict
little
of
bit
interest.
taller than your average
That's
mouse.
true. Yeah, he could fight a few
But if
off.
you get enough cats,
Yeah, it's like how many fifth graders can you fight? It's how
Yeah.
many cats can Mickey Mouse fight?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
How
that's
many
right.
fifth graders?
You've never heard that? How many fifth graders can you fight until they take you over?
I've actually
Yeah.
tried to fight them.
Yeah, which is why you're not allowed within 50 feet of
Yeah.
elementary school.
No, that's for other reasons.
So,
Different podcast.
all right. So here's another one. I used to work at Space Mountain, and when the rockets came back from their cycle around the mountain, we would check for lost and found items that the guests might have left behind. We found all kinds of fun things, including weaves, a glass eyeball, so Rocket Raccoon was there, and I've even had a rocket come back with semen on the seat because, people love to try and do sex stuff at Disneyland.
How the hell do you pull that off in the 2.5-minute ride?
I'd have too much blood rushing to my heart from the thrill that it would not rush to my dingus.
I don't.
Dingus?
Yeah.
I don't think that's
Isn't
like
that your butt?
I don't think that's like a thing to celebrate. Like that guy was like, "Yeah, man, I nutted on Space Mountain."
Yeah, I don't think.
And his like girlfriend was
I want to
"Yeah, of
know
course you
what
did."
that
Yeah.
picture looked like. It was just like
He's crying.
Shot in midair.
Crying and holding a tube sock.
Yeah, you think
This
he's
is
gonna
my
be nice
life.
enough to cover
Yeah,
it up?
I don't
That's
think
true.
so.
Yeah,
I
he
don't
probably
think
doesn't have a
so.
tube sock.
I don't think so.
But why would you do that though? It's like 75% of the people on that ride are children. Why would I don't get
I think
it.
they have a whole issue with that.
Well, no, it's
That's
like
what
that's
jail
just
is for.
Well, there's multiple times someone wrote on one of the things that on Pirates of the Caribbean, they were at the back of the boat and these two people were at the front of the boat and he bent her over and just started having sex with her and they just had to sit there for like the 20-minute ride while it was going on because no one stopped the ride and once they got back there was security there to like kick the people out, but they just let it happen.
Shout out Universe, who wants to have sex with me on a tiny boat?
Yeah, right? That's a little much. And now, so Cam, you were just talking about Expedition Everest. And you've had an incident with a prosthetic leg before. So here, this story is
I
all
have.
for you. This
I've
person-
also had an incident with Bigfoot, which we'll save for another podcast.
For the
like a real
cryptozoologist one.
Yeah.
All right. So while riding Everest in Animal Kingdom, I saw an object fly past my head during the drop. When the ride stopped, a man 4 rows ahead of me raised his hand and informed the cast member that his prosthetic leg had somehow fallen off during the ride. So they had to go back and find it. Like they had to stop the ride.
That's amazing.
And
do you
go
think
back
it's,
and
Do you think
find
it's
it.
the same guy that
Probably
hit me with his?
Yes, probably the same guy who was upset you drank all the Blue Moon and started
Yeah,
he's
beating you with
upset.
his prosthetic
Yeah.
leg.
Yeah, it was probably the same guy with the glass eye or whatever that lost on Space Mountain.
Yeah,
The guy's
yeah.
just falling apart.
He's
Oh,
yes,
man.
he doesn't have much left anymore.
He needs some more cybernetic implants.
Oh, jeez.
So let's see here. One time, this person said, I was once behind a mother and young daughter on the trip where we passed an elephant at Animal Kingdom.
Okay.
The little girl blurted out to her mom, "Look, the elephant has 5 legs." I can confirm the elephant's erection was the size of his leg. So the Animal Kingdom is sometimes you get the Animal Kingdom.
Oh, I mean-
Those are real animals. They're not animatronics. So
They're real.
If you love animals, you gotta love all of them.
yeah.
Unless it's a
the
dog
good,
or a cat,
the
then
bad,
you spay
and
neuter
the
it.
ugly. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was this one here. I worked on the monorails about a year or so ago. A guest got off. I don't know when this was written, so it was probably quite a few years ago. A guest got off at Epcot Station and then told the cast member at the unload area he was going to be sick. The cast member opened up the trash can so he could vomit in it easier, but the guest then proceeded to take off his clothes and take a massive dump in the trash can.
my
Oh,
hero.
my God.
That's pretty nice of them to do in the trash cans.
Yeah.
Yeah, at
But
least he
that's
didn't.
ridiculous.
Oh
That's
my God.
incredible.
Hey, some people throw up, some people have massive diarrhea.
Yeah,
I guess
it just
so, but
happens.
yeah, as long as it's not on the ground, I guess.
What would you rather do as a cast member? Open up the trash can and get
just throw the
embarrassed?
trash bag away,
Yeah,
or-
or have to get like the mop and bucket.
There was a story I heard of someone pooping on the ramp at Autopia.
Oh
and
yeah,
then
that
guests-
totally never happened.
Yeah,
so
and
don't
then
worry
guests
about
didn't see it, and they
wasn't-
tracked it all around
It wasn't.
Oh.
the area and stuff. Yeah,
It wasn't me.
Oh.
Disneyland is gross.
It's
Sometimes.
terrible. Well, think about how many people are there. How many people aren't washing their hands?
All of them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Or,
and then
really.
or not going to the actual
Oh
bathroom.
man, one time.
Yeah, just
okay,
taking
this
dumps
remi-
in trash cans.
Speaking of something disgusting at
Yeah,
Disneyland, I remember
I
one
love
time
it.
I was there and we were in line for the Little Mermaid ride. And you know, like how the rails have like those like knobs on top of each post,
Oh.
like to
Sure,
like connect
yeah.
the thing. And there was like a like a little girl. She must have been like 7, and she was just like had her whole mouth like wrapped around the whole
Oh
thing,
my
and was just like going like this.
that's my
Oh,
worst nightmare
jeez.
ever.
and like and
Oh.
the mom like saw her and like didn't say anything. I was like, man, if I was a kid, my mom would have like yanked me off of it and would have been like, we're taking you to the hospital.
Yeah.
like you're
Yeah.
gonna die.
I can't stand when I stand in lines and little kids are like touching everything and then putting their hands in their mouth. It just makes me
Ugh.
cringe. I hate that so much.
Kids are just
Kids are gross.
They're gross.
So here's the
They're
last
gross.
one of
They're
the
funny.
random.
But that girl's gonna be immune to everything.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
no, seriously.
right?
We
When
just-
the zombie apocalypse happens,
Yeah.
she'll be the only one that
Yeah,
doesn't
they-
catch
they-
the
they
virus.
created a
Getting
super
her family
soldier.
sick.
Yeah.
yeah.
So here's the last one of the random stuff. I saw a man walking around shirtless with the map of the Magic Kingdom tattooed across his entire back. That's commitment.
That's way too much. Commitment.
That's
Oh my
commitment.
gosh. Wait, a grown man.
A grown man.
Oh my god.
Yes.
So,
Okay, that brings up something that bothers me. Is there's people who are like super obsessed with Disney.
Yeah.
Like
I hate that
adults.
Disney person sticker on the back of cars.
Oh yeah.
You mean the ones that are like annual pass holders
Yeah,
or whatever?
the
I don't
AP.
know,
Oh, that's what that stands for? I had no idea.
It's for so when they drive in, the people at the parking lot know that they can just
Oh
wave
my
them
god,
in.
it bothers me. It's creepy.
Yeah,
you
I don't know if it's
know?
creepy, but it is kind of like
for me, it's like adults who talk like babies when they don't have kids.
yeah,
Like it just
or
makes me
adults that
uncomfortable.
dress like babies and go to conventions.
Okay, well that's different.
That does happen.
And
Yeah,
and-
that's a cool thing.
yeah.
That's a cool thing. They have like people change their diapers and crap.
Yeah,
no, but I
that's
get
weird.
exactly what you mean. Like, there's a
Yeah.
level of being like,
being a big fan of it.
here's the spectrum. You have Kipka, and then you have like us, and then you have,
Kipka shakes his head. Yeah.
and then you have on like the far side of the spectrum, you have the people that are like,
Tattooed maps that you can't use
Everything.
because it's on your back. How
It's
are you
like-
gonna use that map?
Yeah.
It's like I
Put it
love
on your
Disney
hand.
more than I love my children. Like
Yeah.
my whole house is Disney.
You mean it's
decor.
the people that
like,
go to like the Dapper Days and dress up for it? Like
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
type of insane
or
people.
like every weekend that they have off, they're at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Or they go to Disney. Now, my brother and his wife, they used to have season passes, and you know they both worked nearby, so they would go to the park, but it was because they worked nearby. They go
and you want to get your money's worth.
well, and they would be like, you know what? I want a churro. I want a Disneyland churro.
Yeah.
So they'd stop in, get it, but they were never obsessed. But there's those people who will just like go every single weekend, every day off. They're always going, and it's like
I get bored
I mean,
after a while.
No, I know. It's like, and you know,
Once you do everything, you're
I
like,
really like Disneyland. I really do. Like, I especially, you know, oddly enough, I like the lines because the lines are the only place in like a theme park that are actually almost feel like part of the ride. I mean, like,
Oh yeah, the queue
like,
lines are awesome.
like,
Yeah,
like
they do a
Indiana
good job of
Jones,
that.
like the Indiana
Oh, yeah,
Jones.
for sure.
That's
They
one
do
of
a
the reasons
great job
why
of it.
Indiana Jones is like my favorite ride because of the line. It's just so cool. You're in this
The
temple.
line was so immersive that as a kid, I got scared and didn't actually go on the ride when I
Yeah,
was younger
no,
because
when
I
I was
couldn't
little, I
get through
did
the
the
ride.
same thing,
Yeah.
same thing,
Like
same
when
thing.
the ceiling started coming down,
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
that scared the
screw
crap out of me.
this.
but it's like there's those adults where you're like you're 45 and like
Sad.
sad. You are depressed. No, but just like there's that level of like obsession. Where
Yeah.
It's just kind of bizarre.
I agree. It's
Yeah,
too much.
Kind of
you-
like my unhealthy obsession with Pokemon.
That
right?
too,
Like,
yeah,
but
totally.
just through
My
the
unhealthy
Disneyland.
obsession with
I
the
will say
SCP
I did
Foundation.
have
Yeah.
I did have an unhealthy obsession with Disney at one time when I first started going and had an annual pass, and I knew where all the hidden Mickeys were.
Okay.
I could tell you like
Yeah, I know
tons
where
of
all those are,
facts.
too.
Yeah,
I know all
but
that,
I mean,
too.
like I wasn't at the point where I was like I'm there every weekend.
Well,
like I went once a month when I had a pass because I wanted to get my money's worth.
But
out
let
of
me
it.
ask you, you looked for the hidden Mickeys when you got your season pass, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but did you look for the hidden Mickeys 40 years of consecutive season passes every
No,
time you went?
and now I don't even care anymore.
Yeah,
I'm
okay,
like, there's
thank
probably
you. There.
ones I
So
don't know
that's-
about
that's
that
what
have
sets
put
you
it in. I'm
apart.
like, whatever.
It's like I've worked with people who are just like they've got Mickey Mouse patches on their backpacks. And
Yeah, the
stickers on
patches
their
and pin
cars.
collecting. I guess it's
And-
cool to collect something, but I mean, like,
Yeah.
go get some Funko Pops or something.
Yeah, I think the pin collecting is cool because
I
if
don't
you
even know
go,
what
you
that
can
is.
trade them. That's the
That's
part
true.
that's rad is you can-
And there's cast members that have exclusives that you can trade with.
And if you're
stuff
gonna
like
if you're
that.
gonna if you're gonna collect something and that's what you're into collecting, like
Yeah.
that hurts nobody. I don't care.
Yeah.
But you know, whatever. It's just another way for them to make money.
Yeah.
Like, and it works.
But you know, I actually have something on my bucket list that involves Disneyland. So you know those like groups of tourists that primarily
Masturbate on Space Mountain.
no. That's down the list on the
okay.
bucket list. You mentioned the Asian people, right?
Yeah.
You were
When
talking
did I-
about them.
Oh,
Yeah, you were
okay.
talking about. So, all right, you've got those groups of Asian tourists, and they've got the leader with the flag in the
Yes.
front, right? So, on my bucket list is to kidnap an entire Chinese tour group by somehow switching with that guy in the front
just
with
having
the
the flag.
and lead them out of the park and onto a bus that I've rented and see how far
Before
I can
they
get,
realize?
I can get all these people, and if I can actually like kidnap them, I would love.
and
to
then
do
you're
that.
going to jail.
Well, yeah, but it would definitely be worth it. Can you imagine? Can you imagine in the newspapers? You know, what is it like? 30-year-old goes to prison for 20 years for kidnapping entire Chinese tour group at Disneyland.
that is a legacy.
I would love to do that. I would love to do that.
Kidnapping them, taking them for ice cream out of the park.
yeah, that's right.
Oh god.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, we all know where Tim's going to be next week. So here's some stories of. We're going to get into a little bit of more sad stuff,
Let's do it.
deadly
Let's do
things.
it.
So people assume that this park is completely safe. Oh, people died in my park. So one of the biggest ones is in 2003, Big Thunder Mountain derailed and killed a man and injured 10 people. Now, the sad part of this is not just that.
Did they
a
dump his
guy-
ashes in the?
No, but what happened is everyone got stuck for 20 minutes on the derailment till they could get to him. So the whole group of people were just sitting there with a dead dude next to them, waiting for them to get off this ride and everything. So
Yeah.
that's a little creepy. That's no good at all. In 1985, the monorail in Epcot caught fire, and guests had to kick out the windows. Luckily, there were 2 firefighters off duty that were just at the park that were there and were helping everyone. No one got majorly injured, but it was pretty crazy. Like, up to that point, 1985, up to that point, they had no fire, like fire exit route type stuff on most of their rides. And when this happened, they had to implement everything because people got stuck. Because at Disney World, the monorail is super long. There's so many more parks, and it's way high up. So I've gotten stuck on it before when it like died down. You're just stuck there. You're like, and there's no way to get off this thing. If you jump, you're probably gonna break something. You know, so like these people caught on fire and they had to get out somehow. So that's crazy.
Did they tie like sheets together and like?
I think that they just got onto the track and like walked down the track area.
Lame.
Yeah, sorry. No, not that cool. 2 people in 2014 lost fingers on Pirates of the Caribbean because they broke the cardinal rule. They didn't keep their hands and feet in the car at all times. So it really does happen when they tell you keep your hands in. You lose fingers sometimes.
Pirates just like they see it. They
Like the cannonball hit them.
That's why it became all politically correct.
Exactly.
Because people
These
started losing
pirates,
fingers.
Yeah, right. So the People Mover in 1967 only opened for
People Mover.
Yeah, so the People Mover was this ride where it was he doesn't even know.
That's his prison nickname.
Yeah,
after
the People
committing his
Mover.
crime.
Yeah, that's what they're gonna call him when he takes the Asian crowd.
What are you
The
in
People
for?
Mover.
People mover.
It was a ride that was like a really slow ride where you would sit in a car and it would take you a 20-minute trip just around the whole park, and you would see like behind the scenes of like some rides and stuff.
Isn't
like
that like the train or whatever?
Kind of, but it was a different version of that.
Okay, go ahead.
So anyway, in 1967, it opened up for a few months, but then a teen tried to jump from one car to the other and ended up missing, and he got caught under and dragged for a few hundred feet before being completely mutilated during that.
Classic teen.
Even though it was a super slow ride, these things will not stop. They will just crush your body because they're machines. It's happened in the Haunted Mansion. It's happened on the monorail track when someone tried to sneak into the park by going over that fence.
I mean, to be fair, the best place to die is probably the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I mean, you're
right.
already kind of close enough there anyway. All the spirits are around.
Do you think they just get a bunch of zip ties and like put you up?
Just add
Just hang you up to the
Yeah.
part of it. Yeah, and then 2 people died on the Matterhorn because they stood up during it. And
Smart. They're
one of them
geniuses.
smacked his head on something and ended up dying in a coma a few days later.
So this is the type that was just like, why would you stand up?
Darwinism.
Because people, want to be funny and
just
do
let
funny
it,
things.
Just let it happen.
Yeah,
Just let it
true.
happen.
So here's a sad one. So in 1973, a teen, so there's different variations. Some type of young boy drowned in the rivers of America. So what happened is there were 2 brothers, an older boy in his teens and a younger boy who was probably about 9 years old.
Whoa.
They hid on Tom Sawyer's Island, which is now Pirate Island, and waited for the park to close. And then when it closed, they kind of had their fun, ran around, and they realized, how are we going to get off this thing? So the little boy didn't know how to swim. So the older brother was like, they were yelling, but there were no park people around because back then, like now, there's mechanics all the time. But in 1973, they didn't have as much stuff going on that they needed. So they were yelling and no one answered. The older boy said, get on my back. I'll take you across. Well, some reports say that the older boy drowned while trying to get across, but the younger boy made it. And then other ones said the younger boy drowned because he fell off of the older boy's back and he couldn't get him out. But all that to say, one of them did die, and they had to drain the lake and everything and get him out and all that. So that's why you don't want to break the rules or make dumb decisions and do that. It's kind of sad, but it's like,
Or sneak on an island when you can't swim.
Well, and you know what the sad thing is? It's not really an island. I'm pretty sure it's connected in the back by an access road.
Oh my God!
So I'm
yeah,
pretty sure
sure
that if they would have just, like, they're young, so they don't think these things, but if they
Yeah,
would
and
have
it
just
was
went to the back
dark
of
and
it,
all that.
they would have been able to get to an access road that they could have walked off.
Oh man.
Fantasy Island
They
Skyway.
definitely skipped the ashes step.
Yeah,
in
just
the,
went straight for the lake. Straight for the lake. I like it. Nice and morbid here. That's what you get on the Wreck My podcast. So, Fantasy Island Skyway. Do you guys even know what that is? Because it was gone before any of us were even born. So
Yeah,
it was
I've got no
pretty
idea.
much like a gondola that you could sit in little square boxes, and it would take you like a chairlift just across Fantasyland, and you would go through the Matterhorn. Like there was a part where you would like go. That's why there's a big hole up in the top of Matterhorn, because it used to have the Skyway that would go through there and stuff.
Yeah, I do remember that.
So there was a guy, a 40-year-old dude who worked at Disney, and he was a cleaner, and he was cleaning it up. There was some spilled water, so he was like down in the area, and it was before the park opened. But some employees got there, and they started the ride a little early to get it going, and didn't know he was there. and it pushed him, and it was 1999. It pushed him, and he grabbed on and tried to hang, but he couldn't hold it for long enough and dropped the 40 feet, and he died.
Oof.
Yeah, so that they had to then OSHA came in and had to reevaluate all their worker function stuff and not letting people in certain areas and all that.
Gosh.
So that was a bummer.
That worker didn't put like a sticky note on the controls saying, "Hey, I'm."
I
up
guess
here?
he just assumed like, oh, they don't normally start this till this time, so I'm
Okay,
good to be
yeah.
down here for a minute or two
right.
cleaning this up. But you know what happens when you assume, you die. So
Fall 40 feet.
the most famous one. Have you guys heard of Debbie Stone?
Nope.
Never heard that?
No.
Okay. So in 1974, Debbie Stone was a worker at Disneyland, and there was the Wheel of Invention or whatever. It was like, it's where the big pavilion is now, the circular pavilion. It used to be a ride where you would sit down and it would move you all the way around, and it was sponsored by GE, and you would see how electricity continued to
it's right by
grow.
Space Mountain, right?
Yeah, it's right there.
Okay, yeah.
Now it's like some Marvel thing or Star Wars thing or something like that.
Yeah, it's Star Wars right now.
It was for the American Centennial or what is it, 200 years, whatever. 1974 was
Bicentennial.
yeah, it was close to 200 years that America's been around. So they did a thing called America Sings, where it was a bunch of like American songs, and you would go around, and it was kind of like Country Bear Jamboree and fun, but the workers would stand there and they would like talk and stuff, and there were walls because it would shift, right? And they would have to step through certain things to get to certain areas. Well, she wasn't paying attention, and she leaned back, and the wall caught her and just crushed her in the wall. And there's videos online of her screaming. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, that's not an actual video. Those are all fake, da-da-da. So I can't speak to the validity, but there's a lot of videos online where people claim this is actually her screaming
Definitely
and dying
watching
and
it.
stuff. Yeah. So, but that's the most famous because the Stone family tried to sue Disney, but Disney was able to finagle their way out of it and settle because they were
I'm
like,
sure.
she wasn't following proper protocol and
Yeah.
leaned back where she wasn't supposed to. But then they ended up re-evaluating it, and they put in like breakaway walls. So if you did get caught in it, it was squishy enough that you could break through, kind of like it wouldn't crush you type of thing.
It just kind of like push you through the wall.
Pretty much, yeah. So yeah, that's the most famous one. And then the most sad one is
Not the
And-
kid who drowned?
no,
Okay.
another sad one. This is on par with that. In 1998, on Christmas Eve, a family decided to go to Disneyland. They were waiting in line at the Columbia ship to get on the ship, and something from the Columbia ship broke and fell off, like one of the big mechanisms up at the top, swung down, smacked the dad and the mom in the head, killing one of them instantly, killed the other one in the hospital later, all while their little son was standing right next to them.
Oh, my God.
In line.
That's like what are those movies? The bad.
Oh,
Final
the Final
Destination.
Destination.
Final
Yeah,
Destination.
exactly.
Oh, jeez.
So that one was a bad
That's-
Christmas Eve for that kid.
That's terrible.
Wow.
Yep. So these are deaths that have happened at Disneyland. There's actually, so we all know because
God,
we
that's-
live close by. Anaheim's not the most savory of places.
Whoa,
There's been
shots
reports.
fired again.
There's been
Oh, my God.
reports of surrounding neighborhoods where people have shot guns in the air, and it's actually hit a little girl in the leg,
Oh,
like from
wow.
a mile away, and
Yeah.
everything. Like, it's insane, some of the things that happen. But let's get into stuff a little less deadly. Let's talk about bizarre things that
Bizarre
have happened.
Let's do
things.
it.
Bizarre stuff. There was, you guys know about these abandoned theme parks at Disney World? There's
You
one,
mentioned something.
yeah.
No.
So there's
about
one
the-
called
the-
Discovery Island.
Yeah, it's the water park one.
And then
right?
the River Country was a water park.
Okay.
And when they abandoned them, they just decided to leave everything in place and just let it get overgrown. So
Oh, that's
people
so
sneak in
cool.
and take pictures now of just like this apocalyptic looking,
Oh, that's so
overgrown,
cool.
fully still there park, amusement
This
park.
is in Florida?
Yeah, it's in Florida. I know. I really want to go, but I'm also kind of a pansy. Like, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I really want to go to Chernobyl and like walk
yeah,
in there,
yeah,
but I
exactly.
wouldn't actually do it because I'm like, nah.
Yeah, but going
You never know.
going sterile from the radiation.
Yeah, exactly. You never
Getting
know.
bit by like a two-headed wolf.
Yeah, it would fulfill
that would
my
actually be a
Fallout
good-
fantasies for sure.
That'd
but,
be a good experience. I think.
So there's a chef at Disneyland Paris who committed suicide with a note that stated, "I don't want to work for Mickey anymore." And I guess this is a big thing in Paris.
That's it?
That people have committed like suicide there because they're like so guilt-ridden with working for Disney because Disney built this park that's considered an eyesore in Paris. Like all of France was like, no. Like, what are you doing wrecking our beautiful city?
Yeah, with all
and they
this
still did it.
history
So
and
all these
stuff.
people that work there get crapped on a ton because they're like the corporate greed and all this. So multiple or suicides have happened
Wasn't
at
it
Paris.
Disneyland Paris, that one where that video came out where like all the cast members in the costumes were like humping each other?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. With their baguettes.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought that was.
They had their wine and
like
the baguettes.
It was a controversy for a
We'll
while.
have to figure it out. Send me that link later.
Yeah. Yeah, let's put that up. I'll put the link in the description.
Let's all watch it on Space Mountain.
We'll add to that guy's problem. Until 1987, the shooting gallery actually had live ammunition.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
That's a little scary. That's a little crazy. And so, did you know that you used to be able to buy lingerie on Main Street? So, if you've ever walked down Main Street in Disneyland, you might notice a sign that says, for intimate apparel, braziers, thank you. Braziers or torsalettes.
Browsers.
Hey now. We're not promoting other websites.
What websites are you looking at?
So, of course, this shop doesn't exist anymore, but it did once. And so it only lasted like a year. Like they opened in 1955, and by 1956 it was closed. Because obviously a theme park devoted to children, you don't want like a lingerie shop in there, right? But it was something. It was called Hollywood Maxwell's Intimate Apparel Shop, and there really was a Wizard of Bras in there featuring a
Wizard
figure.
of Bras?
Wizard of Bras featuring a figure dressed up like a wizard in lingerie. But yeah, it closed a
Send
year
that
later.
link too.
And right now.
When I think of sexy things, I don't think of Gandalf.
Speak for yourself.
Obviously, you haven't seen him in lingerie.
Only
Brazzers.
Only Gandalf the White. Gandalf the Gray, not so much, but Gandalf the White. He's super sexy. There is a time when there was a barfing Dumbo in the parade. So as you know, those.
A barfing
Dumbo. So as you know, those suits they wear are extremely hot, extremely heavy. So there was one guy who was a Dumbo, and he was in the parade, and he was sick that day, and it was a uniquely hot day. So he was feeling it. They're like, oh, man, I'm going to be sick. But if you take your head off, you automatically get fired. Like, that's a big no-no.
Yeah.
So he barfed in the suit and just sat in it for the whole parade to the point where it was oozing out of the mesh of the suit, and he was just hoping the kids would think it was magical juice from Dumbo and stuff. Like, he ended up not getting fired, but, like, he wanted his job so bad that he just sat in it.
Was he promoted? He should have been promoted.
Seriously, though, that's dedication.
Wait, Tyler, what a genius. Could have just walked away.
What do you mean?
Just left.
Just left? Like walked off the parade float or whatever?
I don't know.
know.
I don't think
you
there's
probably
anywhere
still
you
would have gotten
can.
fired for that. I feel like you still would have gotten fired for
Well, because
that.
I mean, at that parade, it's like all like blocked off. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's like little exit areas, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those floats are like really tall. Like most of them too are strapped to a chair. So if they do get heat exhaustion, they fall back onto it instead of falling off the parade thing.
They just die and
Yeah,
continue
pretty much.
on.
Yeah, pretty much. But at least they don't fall to their death. They
that's
just die of heat exhaustion. So speaking of Animal Kingdom a little bit earlier, there in 2016, so fairly recently, a snake fell from a tree and bit a boy. Now here's
Classic Florida.
Here's a silver lining. It was a snake just because of Florida. You know, it wasn't like part of the park or anything. The boy was fine. It was a non-venomous snake. But it was so crazy that his grandmother went into cardiac arrest and died because of the incident.
No.
Yeah. So there was a death, not directly linked to this snake, but because of this snake biting.
Oh my god.
So
the poor snake's like, I'm not even venomous. Why are you
exactly.
dead?
He's like, what the heck? And this is the most famous, bizarre thing that's ever happened. You guys might have seen the video, but quite a few years ago, there's a video of a tiger chasing a kid. Now,
Yeah, I did see
yeah.
that.
So now it's up for debate whether the kid did something to, piss Tigger off,
Yeah.
or if Tigger was just having a bad day, or what was going on, But there's a video of this kid running for his life while Tigger is violently chasing after him.
He
ready
looks
to
like he
beat
means
the
business.
crap out of
Yeah,
him. Yeah,
like-
He's a tiger.
he is a tiger. You would imagine
He's
so.
playing the role.
I mean, come on.
Tigers are
Now,
carnivorous.
speaking of not breaking character, this is our last one of the stuff here. But this is I'm gonna end on a good note, a happy note of something bizarre that happened. So I call this Tarzan Saves a Boy. So when the parade was going and there was a Tarzan at the time when they had Tarzan back then, the movie had just come out. There was a boy who fell into the river next to where the parade was, and the mom started screaming, and the boy couldn't swim. Tarzan, without skipping a beat, jumped from the top of the parade float he was on into the water, saved the kid, brought him up, and did not break character the whole time. He said, "Boy saved, Tarzan, save boy." Like, some people can be hero, and like said something like in Tarzan voice, got back on the parade and continued along his way.
And got laid immediately.
Seriously.
Just
Like
mom later.
what? What? Like that is crazy.
Like it wasn't just Jane.
Like
that
this
time.
dude,
No.
this dude did not break character and save a
Incredible.
boy's life.
Incredible.
Like, that's insane.
Disney would have fired him if he broke character.
Probably.
after
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Probably. So that's insane. But that was cool. So that's all the stories I found. There were a lot more
Why
online.
doesn't
but
Tarzan have a beard?
Oh.
I was just watching that one of those new shows, and the guy said that. I was
Interesting.
like, oh, that makes sense.
Interesting. His hair grows on his head very long. How is he perfectly shaven everywhere? You're right. That's so weird.
that. Maybe he's just smooth.
He just
Maybe
lets
d-
like
maybe he
all the
doesn't
animals
grow a
lick
lot
the
of
hair off of him.
Yeah.
Maybe because if you only eat bananas for your whole life, you don't have the
I mean,
proper
like,
hormones to
I can
grow
only
that
grow
hair.
like 7 chest hairs and 11
too.
facial hairs.
Yeah, me
Like,
too.
They just probably didn't animate those 18 hairs onto his body.
Yeah, I'm at the point where I haven't
Live
shaved in
action.
6 weeks. No. No, that's really funny. That's a good point I never thought of. So those are stories. There's a lot of stories online. There's a lot of other crazy things that have happened and deaths and thing like that. But I mean, I didn't get into the supernatural stuff. There was a lot of supernatural sightings
Oh,
in
let's hear one of
Disneyland.
those.
It's like
Ew.
all in the Haunted Mansion, though, right?
No. Actually, there's people that have seen a gray wizard ghost standing on
Wearing a bra.
Wearing a bra, standing on the castle while the fireworks were going off. There's a video of it. There's a video of a group of family while walking through Tomorrowland, and it was kind of a dead night, like it probably was a weeknight before they closed. And they look up, and there's a weird greenish circle just floating in the sky, moving around.
Yeah.
Hey, real question here. How come now everyone has a video camera in their pocket? There's not an increase in UFO sightings.
There's probably just a decrease in
You're not going to the right
UFOs
websites.
showing up.
Then maybe they now know. They're like, oh, people have phones now. We gotta be careful.
Because they're probably like humans are getting dumber. We don't really need to talk to them as much as we
And
want
also,
to.
we have all our phones out. We're always doing this. And not
That's true.
doing
So we can't even
Yeah,
tell. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Like,
All right.
who-
you
who-
answered
who-
my question.
Who really looks at the sky anymore?
Yeah. No, not me.
I know. I can't remember the last time.
There were multiple cast members that wrote. I've had people come up and ask to turn the AC on because they thought Disneyland was in a big glass bubble.
Seriously?
Yeah, like legit, seriously. Like there's a website just devoted to stupid questions that people asked seriously.
I hope all of those people stand up on the Matterhorn.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. There's people. These are the people I hope do. People tried to sneak their kids on the rides. There was a lady who had a 6-month-old baby, and she wanted to go on Space Mountain and didn't have anyone watch it, so she put it in a duffel bag and tried to sneak the duffel bag onto Space Mountain, and they stopped her and like wouldn't let her on, and she wouldn't open the bag. And when they opened it, there was a little kid in there.
This is why.
Like what? These people should not be allowed to have children.
No, this is why there should be a
That's
test
Disney's target audience, though.
Yeah.
to have kids. You should have.
Yeah, no, seriously. If you have to have a test to drive a car, you need to have a test to have a kid. Like
know.
some people, I'm just like, seriously, come on. Although then we're getting into a really weird totalitarian state of like,
of
like-
like
you can't like you wear this cock ring that doesn't let your
What?
semen go unless you pass
Well-
this
Wear
test.
this cock ring.
well, I'm wearing one right now.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I hear it helps increase your bulge.
I just wear it all the time.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
everywhere.
It feels nice.
I've got one that's bedazzled.
I got asked yesterday if I had a Prince Albert piercing.
By who?
Ryan Buds.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, did you went and saw him at Poco?
Yeah, and he goes,
Oh my
and he was
God.
like, "Do you have one of those?" And I was like, "No." And he goes,
he
"If
just
any-"
assumed you would.
Yeah, and he goes, "If anyone would, it'd be you." And I was like, "God, no, it wouldn't."
Oh, Ryan. Oh,
Yeah.
Ryan.
I couldn't
That's
imagine.
funny.
That sounds too.
Hey, are
way
you
too
doing something
painful.
with him, like a couch thing or something?
Yeah, it's called a casting couch. You can.
Okay. All right.
No,
You can
it's
see it on that Brazzers.
Yeah. That
no, he took a photo. We did a podcast for him, but right outside of my car, right next to Pocock, there was like just a couch next to the dumpster.
Oh, nice.
And Ryan goes, "Why don't you, Colin, go take a seat on that couch? I'll take a picture." And it was filthy and disgusting. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you guys want to talk about Disneyland real quick, or before we kind of headed out of here? Disneyland.
Not particularly for me.
No?
It's just,
Who's everyone's favorite Disney character?
Oh, that's
ever?
good. That's a good question. Darth Vader.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Technicalities.
Now that Star Wars
Yeah, you
is
pulling that one.
I'm pulling it out, and not my cock ring. I'm
Oh god.
The extremely Goofy movie made Goofy pretty cool.
Actually,
Yeah.
I watched the Extremely Goofy movie like a year or two ago because it's on Netflix, and it holds up. I laughed.
Yeah.
That song holds up.
Well, the Extremely Goofy movie, not the Goofy movie.
I said the extremely Goofy.
Yeah, but the Goofy movie is when you're talking about with
Right?
Powerline or Power Trip
Oh,
or
is that
whatever.
it? I don't
Yeah,
know.
Extremely Goofy movie is where he goes to college and Pauly Shore's in it, and
That's Yeah.
No, but
Right?
they don't have the song in that one. The song's in the first
that's
one.
That's a sequel to it?
Yeah, that's a sequel to it. Yeah, that's the one where he's like, yeah, never mind.
Gotcha.
We'll wreck that one later.
We'll do that.
Wreck my Goofy movie.
Bring some cheese whiz.
Yeah, what's your guys'
the
crazy?
Cheese Whiz.
Yeah, Leaning Tower of
Cheese,
Cheese. If
That should
I
be
had to
something
say
at
a
Disneyland.
real like core Disney character that is my favorite, probably Goofy. He's
Yeah,
good. He was
yeah.
funny.
Jeez.
I know.
Go
Sorry.
Goofy.
Oh, do we have to restrict it to core?
You don't have to. I was
No.
just trying to think of like main cast type people.
Oh, I liked that. The movie Balto.
Balto?
Balto.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a Disney movie.
It's
right?
not a Disney movie.
No.
It's not. Oh.
DreamWorks or something?
It's it's
Oh,
one
I
of
thought
those
it was.
other off.
One of those other ones.
One of those other ones.
Yeah, but
So,
I mean,
no
Balto's a
Balto.
great movie though.
But yeah, it was okay. So I mean,
No, if you
I'm
want
jumping
Disney, you
ship
got to
here.
go to 8 Below or something like that. A really crappy husky movie.
Was that Cuba?
Yeah, Cuba Gooding Jr.
Who's your favorite Disney character?
Yeah, Cuba Gooding Jr. is my
Air-
favorite Disney
Air
character.
Bud.
Yeah.
I don't think
What
he's
about you
Disney.
guys?
I'm just picking
Cam, what's your-
You're just like dog movies.
What's your favorite,
Pretty
Cam?
much it, yeah.
I would say my favorite is probably Pluto,
Pluto, because
Or-
he's an actual dog.
and he can play records with his tail.
Can he really?
That is pretty
Yeah,
cool.
it's like one of those
Nice.
classic cartoons. And then
That's good.
my favorite Disney princess is Ariel.
Ariel, of course it is.
Yeah.
Redheads.
Yep.
Come on. My favorite Disney
Oh.
princess was always probably Jasmine.
Yeah, same here.
I like
Same here,
Jasmine.
big time.
Yeah. Yep. Kipka, no comment.
Yeah,
You like Power Trip or Power
kinda
Line or whatever
weird.
it's called. Kind of weird. Kind of weird.
He's,
We're
he's
just
trying to casually
full-
talk
yeah,
about
he's
it.
like
He's got
full-
all these like stickers all over his room.
Don't look at my phone.
He's got a really bizarre.
How do you
search
guys
history.
feel about Disney taking classic stuff and taking their intellectual property and just posting it over everything? So there's a big uproar in Epcot. The Norway area had a ride called Maelstrom, and it was a history of Norway pretty much. And you would go through, and they shut it down and reopened it as Frozen. How do you feel about Disney taking intellectual properties and just stamping it over everything now?
I mean, if they own it, they own it. You know, they can do what they want.
It's true.
I think it's kind of dumb. You know, but I mean, you got to come out with something new that's going to keep people, because you know Disney's a company. They want profit. That's it. You know, and especially Frozen, like
Yeah,
you know,
it was a big one.
You know, families are going to go to
Right,
that
and they're gonna go on that.
Hey,
just for
for
that.
that.
Hey.
Just for that.
They're willing to kill
let it
culture
go.
to bring the kids in. Yeah, I mean, it's a bummer, but you're right.
That's terrible.
It's the American dream, man. Killing culture to bring
Killing
the kids
culture
in.
to bring the
Yeah.
kids. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Just
business.
to get
What
the
can
profit.
you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of stupid.
So
I mean,
that-
like, well, the same way it's like, you know, like, all right, like, I get it, like, you know, with like politically correct stuff with like Pirates of the Caribbean, but it's like everybody knows it's like we're
Sorry,
it's
listeners.
it's a bunch of weird, like, you know, really poorly done animatronic. Like, we're not being
Yeah.
serious about some of this.
Yeah,
stuff,
you're just
you
going to
know?
get a bunch of people suing you. That's the problem.
True.
Well, they willingly paid for the ticket and got on the ride.
Yeah, but they want to sue you now.
You just put something up, you know, saying this is what they
Just
say.
so they don't have to deal with it.
Oh, that's
That's
true.
why they change it.
All I know is I want to eat a churro,
Yes.
go on Star Tours,
Yes.
Yeah.
eat a second churro,
Yeah.
and then chug a Coke.
Okay. Okay. I don't know if Coke is something.
That's why I said I want to do
Oh,
it,
okay.
not you guys. I didn't say, hey, do you all want? I said,
You
this
know
is
what?
what I want.
Cam.
Jordan was like planning this, like, okay, I can do this with you.
Yeah, I was like churro.
He's
Okay,
like,
cool.
"T-
Star
two
Tours, churro.
churros, that's
And Coke, I'm
expensive,
like,
though."
you know
That's
what?
$10. That's fine.
Yeah.
$10.
$10. Yeah. I want the gold churro or whatever they have.
Oh, the one for pirates where they dust it in gold?
Yeah.
Have you seen the lightsaber churros?
No.
They dust them in like red sugar or blue sugar, and then they put them in like a lightsaber sleeve.
We'll get those, and
Yeah.
when we go on Star Tours, we'll like be fighting each other with
Yeah.
them.
We'll touch
and-
each other's lightsabers
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
and leave a stain on the seat.
Yes, exactly. Hey, it was involuntary. It was.
What?
It was involuntary.
Sure.
I can't help myself when I get in the Star Wars mood. Anyway, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at WreckMyPodcast. You can also go to our Patreon, patreon.com/WreckMyPodcast, and get some cool rewards.
Yeah,
We have episodes come out all the time. Fun stuff.
all the time.
Yeah.
all the time.
Mondays, Wednesdays, sometimes Fridays, all
Sometimes
that good stuff. I didn't
Friday.
write my plugs on here, so I'm just going from memory. That stuff.
Oh, those are the plugs.
Yeah,
Is that
I
how
s-
this still works?
No,
don't
I
even
stopped
know.
doing
Oh,
that.
God damn it.
No one watches the video, so I stopped putting
Ooh.
crap in the video. But it's all in the description notes now. So go
Cool.
down, look in the description notes. We'll put in some links, and then I'll put in some mystery links.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
I think I know what website's gonna be.
Yep. No, it's just gonna be that website of that dude where you can slap him with an eel. Where have you seen that website?
It's
That's
not
not an
it's
eel.
not-
On that note, Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. I love you.
Where
Yeah, that is
people
a thing.
they flash on Splash Mountain.
I've
and
done it.
The person who's like, but chicks, right? So the person who's in charge of deleting all of them, they like keep them and load them up on this website and stuff like that.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
you can
so
go
if
to
you wanna
Flash
see
Mountain and
boobs
see
for the
some
first time in your
boobs.
life, you can look at that.
For the
Hey,
first time in your
what's
life.
your Wi-Fi password?
Oh.
No.
Oh.
No, actually, I'm serious.
If you get.
Really funny.
You guys suck.
No.
All right. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
To a good episode.
Okay.
Or a bad one.
That's a tall order.
So should I
Yeah.
just like pour this on the
Yeah,
soundboard?
right on that.
End it quickly.
Oh, you're right. That is good.
Yeah.
It's very, very sweet.
Too sweet?
Too sweet.
What have I
Yeah,
done?
everyone did it. So funny. Okay. 2 good experiences with beer when I was in Texas and 1 bad experience. I had 2 that were really, really good from breweries close by, like in the, not Dallas area, but I think Austin area. They had come up.
That's kind of your best bet. Is
Yeah,
for everything
Austin
good.
stuff.
Yeah.
But then I had one that was, which I should have known, it was a Kolsch, which I'm not a huge fan of to begin
No.
with. But it didn't say it in the description or anywhere, but it had that honey flavor where it was almost like sour honey.
Oh, like
almost
a weird-
like a weird honey, like almost
like a
like they didn't clean out their CO2 lines well enough.
Like
and it was like an off
Mariluca
flavor.
honey. Have you ever had Mariluca honey? It's
no.
like the honey. This is gonna sound such like a douchebag. It's this like honey from.
Is it locally sourced?
No, well, it's from New Zealand. It's like an exotic
ethically
honey,
grown.
and only this like small group of bees eat this specific plant,
Yeah.
and it's Mariluca honey, and like
Okay.
it's delicious, but it does kind of have that weird tart tanginess.
Yeah.
to it too.
Are they free range bees? Because I
Free-range
only
bees,
allow
yeah.
free range.
They're cage free. They're cage free.
Cage-free, yeah. Perfect.
All the
Perfect.
bees have a very high minimum wage.
Yeah.
where they work.
Fair trade.
Full medical
bees.
benefits.
I
They're-
love it.
They've unionized.
Yeah,
Yes,
scholarship
good.
for
Good for them. Good for
yeah.
those bees.
Yeah.
When your work ends up killing you in the end, I guess it's good to get unionized.
Ask me what their grade average needs to be to get the scholarship.
What's their grade average need to be?
It needs to be A and not a B.
Ah, that was a good one.
So everybody take
that
a
was
drink.
a good one. Drink time. Wow. All right. Now let's start with this episode. That's all going to be just like at the end
That's the
of
bonus-
the
this
episode.
is the bonus content.
Yeah, there's a bonus content at the end
Yeah.
of the episode. So people love that. All right, guys.